The crowd roared as the scarlet-clad warrior stepped into the arena, her silver blade catching the artificial light of Nexus Arena. Naylin, the undefeated Vorak queen, moved with predatory grace across the dark sand. Her amber eyes scanned the opposite entrance, waiting for her challenger, a human of all species, to emerge. Citizens of the Interstellar Alliance. Vex Kororan's voice boomed across the stadium. The arena master's tall, slender form stood on the central platform, his iridescent robes shimmering under the spotlights. Today, we witness a historic confrontation. The undefeated champion of the Vorak species faces the mysterious human who has defied all expectations. Kai stepped into the arena, wearing only lightweight white armor, carrying no weapons. The crowd fell into confused murmurs. Humans were rare in this sector, and rarer still in the brutal Nexus Arena. Most spectators had placed bets against him, seeing his earlier victories as flukes against lesser opponents. As is tradition, Kororan continued, the terms of combat follow the god's law. The victor claims life and honor. The defeated submits to eternal servitude. His thin lips curved into what passed for a smile. May your ancestors guide your blades. Naylin's proclamation echoed across the arena. By the blood of my ancestors and the honor of Vorak, I stand undefeated. Today, I add another victory to my legacy. Kai simply nodded and said, I accept. The crowd erupted again as Kororan raised his hand. Begin! Naylin launched forward like a crimson arrow, her silver blade flashing in a deadly arc. The spectators screamed in anticipation of first blood. But Kai moved with fluid precision, sidestepping the blade by millimeters. His body twisted in an intricate dance of avoidance. The Vorak queen's momentum carried her forward, and Kai seized the opportunity, striking her left shoulder as her sword rose to block. For the first time in years, Naylin's balance faltered. The crowd gasped as she blinked in surprise. A lucky dodge, she hissed, adjusting her stance. Her blade whirled in the famous twin dragon sword spin, designed to leave no escape route. Again. Kai evaded with calculated movements, then countered with precise strikes to her elbow joints. But Naylin was learning his patterns. Her blade finally connected, slicing across Kai's shoulder and drawing bright red blood. The Vorak supporters erupted in cheers. Naylin hesitated, pride in training demanding she deliver a killing blow. Yet something in Kai's calm demeanor gave her pause. It was the opening Kai needed. With practiced efficiency, he executed the selector's tradition, a lightning-fast maneuver targeting pressure points. His hands moved in a blur, disarming Naylin and striking the neural pathway that controlled consciousness. The silver blade fell from her grasp. The mighty Vorak queen crumpled to her knees, helpless but still conscious. The arena fell silent, save for Naylin's ragged breathing and Kai's steady exhalations. The human champion prevails, Kororan announced, his voice carrying a note of surprise. By the god's law, the binding ceremony shall commence. Arena officials approached, carrying an ancient, forged collar, the symbol of eternal servitude. Naylin, though wounded, held her head high with warrior dignity, but her eyes glistened with unshed tears. Kai helped her to her feet, then placed the collar around her neck. The arena exploded with mixed reactions, cheers, gasps, and murmurs of disbelief that the undefeated had finally fallen. Within hours, Naylin was relocated from the Emperor's Quarter, reserved for champions, to the Prisoner's Quarter with Kai. The stark contrast in her status hit hard. Once revered and powerful, now bound to obey a human. Alone in Kai's quarters, Naylin finally broke her stoic silence. You should have killed me. Death would have preserved my honor. Kai looked at her thoughtfully. Is honor only preserved through death? For a Vorak warrior who has never known defeat? Yes, she replied bitterly. Now I am nothing, a slave to an outsider who fights without weapons or proper form. Perhaps there's honor in adapting, In learning from defeat, Kai suggested, studying a holographic display of the station's layout. Your combat skills are exceptional. Naylan, I have no desire to diminish them. She scoffed. Pretty words from my captor. What do you want from me? To serve as your trophy? Your bedmate? Your servant? I want your knowledge, Kai answered, his voice steady. And eventually, your trust. Trust? Naylan laughed without humor. You defeated me, claimed me like property. Why would I ever trust you? Because we both have more to lose than our lives in this arena. Before their conversation could continue, a notification chimed. A massive Chronari warrior named Thorgrim Bloodfang had requested a training session with Kai. The Death Beast wishes to test your mettle, Naylan translated from the Chronari language. He believes your victory over me was luck, not skill. Kai nodded. Then I'll demonstrate otherwise. In the training arena, Thorgrim towered over Kai, muscles rippling beneath his scaled skin. Human, he growled in broken common speech. Chronari strength crush weak human tricks. The practice match began brutally. Thorgrim charged with raw power, but Kai moved like water around stone. When the Chronari warrior lunged, Kai redirected his momentum, then struck precise nerve clusters that temporarily paralyzed Thorgrim's right arm. The Chronari roared in frustration as Kai systematically neutralized him without causing permanent damage. When Thorgrim finally collapsed, unable to continue, his rage was palpable. You mock Chronari with small hits. Fight with honor, he bellowed. I fight to win, Kai replied calmly. Without unnecessary death? From the observation deck, Naylan watched with growing fascination. This human fought unlike any warrior she had encountered in her years as champion. He didn't seek to destroy his opponents, but to neutralize them efficiently. It contradicted everything she had been taught about combat and honor. Later, as they returned to their quarters, Naylan broke the silence. Your fighting style, it's unorthodox. By Vorak standards, perhaps, Kai replied. By any standards. You could have killed both of us, yet you chose not to. Death is rarely the most strategic outcome. Naylan's amber eyes narrowed. Strategy over honor? How very human. Is it dishonorable to preserve life? Kai asked, accessing a computer terminal. It's dishonorable to deny an opponent a warrior's death, Naylan countered, but her voice lacked conviction. Days passed as Naylan reluctantly adapted to her new role. She observed Kai's routines, noting how he studied arena layouts, monitored communication channels, and practiced combat techniques alone in their quarters. Sometimes, she caught him pressing a finger to his temple, as if listening to something only he could hear. On the 7th day, Arena Master Kororin made a stunning announcement. By sacred tradition, after one cycle of servitude, the human champion Kai and his bound servant, former Queen Naylan, will face the trial of ascension. Naylan froze. The trial of ascension is reserved for champions who seek to challenge arena leadership. Why would he offer this? Kai's expression remained neutral. Perhaps he sees an opportunity. Or a trap, Naylan countered. No bound servant has ever participated in the trial. That night, as artificial lights dimmed to simulate night, Naylan discovered Kai accessing restricted data terminals. She moved silently, watching as his fingers danced across holographic interfaces, bypassing security protocols with practiced ease. You're not just a fighter, she said, making him startle slightly. You're infiltrating the arena systems. Kai considered her for a long moment before nodding. Yes. Why? Information is more valuable than blood in this arena. Naylan approached, her voice dropping to a whisper. You're not here for glory or survival, are you? What is your true purpose, human? Kai's fingers paused over the terminal. If I tell you, your oath as a bound servant would compel you to report me. Unless, Naylan said carefully, I decide my oath to you supersedes my obligation to arena authorities. Their eyes locked in silent assessment. Finally, Kai spoke. I need access to the arena's core data repository. The trial of Ascension will grant that access. And what will you do with this access? Expose certain truths. Nayland considered this. The God's law says I must serve you faithfully. It doesn't specify that I must agree with arena leadership. A convenient interpretation, Kai noted with the ghost of a smile. Convenient, perhaps, but also true. Nayland moved closer to the terminal. The repository is guarded by biometric scanners, calibrated to Kororan species. How will you bypass them? I was hoping you might have insights. For the first time since her defeat, Nayland smiled. Perhaps this servitude has unexpected benefits for us both. The following days brought a shift in their relationship. During training sessions, Nayland began sharing Vorak combat techniques, while Kai taught her human pressure point fighting. They sparred together, developing a hybrid style that combined her power with his precision. In private, they discussed the arena's security systems. Nayland's years as champion had given her knowledge of restricted areas, while Kai's technical expertise found vulnerabilities in the network. The trial involves 3 challenges, Nayland explained one evening. Combat prowess, strategic thinking, and loyalty testing. Kororan designs each challenge personally. And what happens if we succeed? In theory, you would earn the right to challenge Kororan for arena mastership. Nayland's amber eyes glinted. Though no one has succeeded in 7 cycles. Kai nodded thoughtfully. We don't need to win. We just need enough access to reach the repository. Late that night, as Nayland slept, Kai pressed his finger to his temple, activating the bone conduction communicator embedded beneath his skin. Director Hawthorne, he whispered. Phase 1 complete. The Vorak champion is secured and cooperative. Excellent, came the barely audible response. What have you learned about the Alliance against Earth? Confirmation of 7 species coordinating. The arena serves as their neutral meeting ground, with Kororan facilitating. I need core repository access for specifics. The Trial of Ascension? Our best opportunity. Nayland's knowledge is proving invaluable. Be careful, Kai, Hawthorne warned. Your mission is intelligence gathering, not attachment. The Vorak are strategically important, but unpredictable allies. Understood, Kai replied, his eyes drifting to Nayland's sleeping form. Mission parameters maintained. The morning of the trial arrived with heightened security throughout Nexus Arena. Spectators from dozens of species filled the stands, eager to witness the human and his bound Vorak servant attempt what many considered impossible. Kororan addressed the crowd from his elevated platform. Today, we witness ambition in its purest form. The human champion and his servant will face 3 trials. Should they succeed, they earn the right to challenge for arena mastership. Should they fail, his thin lips curved upward. Well, failure has its own rewards. The first trial was combat-based, Kai and Nayland facing 3 previous champions simultaneously. As they entered the combat zone, Nayland whispered, They've chosen opponents with complementary styles. The Grath uses ranged attacks, the Xenovix has speed, and the Kronari has brute strength. Kai nodded. We adapt and overcome. Remember our practice. What followed was a dance of violence and precision. Nayland deflected the Grath's energy bolts with her ceremonial shield, while Kai neutralized the Xenovix's speed advantage with targeted strikes. Together, they maneuvered the Kronari into the path of the Grath's attacks. The crowd watched in amazement as the human and Vorak moved in perfect synchronization, as if they had trained together for years rather than days. When the last opponent fell, Kororan's expression darkened momentarily before he announced, The first trial is complete. Proceed to the Chamber of Minds. The second trial tested strategic thinking through a complex holographic simulation. Kai and Nayland found themselves directing virtual armies against an adaptive defense system. This simulation is rigged, Nayland muttered as their third attempt failed. The parameters shift whenever we approach victory. Kai studied the holographic battlefield. Then we don't play to win. We play to exploit the system. On their fourth attempt, instead of pursuing victory, Kai identified a recursion pattern in the program. By deliberately triggering specific failures, they created a cascade effect that crashed the simulation entirely. Alarms blared briefly before Kororin's voice cut through. Unorthodox, but effective. The second trial is passed. The final trial took place in a circular chamber with 2 pedestals. On each pedestal sat an identical crystal sphere. The loyalty test, Kororin announced, entering the chamber personally. Simple, yet revealing. Each sphere contains a truth serum. Drink, and answer one question. What is your true purpose in seeking advancement? Nayland tensed beside Kai. Truth serum would reveal his covert mission. Kai stepped forward confidently. An interesting challenge, Arena Master. But according to Section 7 of the God's Law, a bound servant may substitute for their master in any trial of truth. Kororin's eyes narrowed. You've studied our laws well, human. Very well. The Vorak may drink in your stead. Nayland took the sphere without hesitation and drank the glowing liquid. Her amber eyes dilated as the serum took effect. What is your master's true purpose in seeking advancement? Kororin demanded. Nayland's voice came steady and clear. To restore honor to both human and Vorak through rightful challenge. As his bound servant, I know his heart and mind as my own. It wasn't a lie. Not entirely. The restoration of honor was indeed part of their shared goal, though not the whole truth. Kororin studied her for a long moment before nodding stiffly. The final trial is complete. You have earned the right to challenge. As they exited the chamber, Kai whispered, How did you bypass the serum? I didn't, Nayland replied quietly. I simply answered a different question than the one he asked. Kai's eyes widened slightly. You're remarkable. For a slave? She asked with a raised eyebrow. For anyone, he replied. Their success granted them access to the upper levels of the arena complex, areas reserved for arena masters and their staff. While Kororin prepared the formal challenge ceremony scheduled for the following day, Kai and Nayland enacted their true plan. Using maintenance access points Nayland had memorized during her championship years, they navigated toward the core repository. Kai's technical skills disabled surveillance systems as they progressed. The repository should be beyond this section, Nayland whispered, as they approached a heavily secured doorway. Biometric scans begin here. Kai removed a small device from his armor. This should help with that. Before he could apply it, Nayland touched his arm. Before we proceed, if we succeed, what happens to me? To my status as your bound servant? Kai hesitated. That depends on what we find, and what you want. What I want has never been considered before, she said bitterly. Perhaps it's time that changed, Kai replied, his hand lingering on hers. The moment was interrupted by a faint mechanical whirring. Nayland's enhanced hearing caught it first. Movement behind us! They turned to see a sleek assassination droid emerging from the shadows, its optical sensors fixed on them. Without warning, it launched a volley of micro-projectiles. Kai shoved Nayland aside as the projectiles embedded in the wall where they had been standing. The droid advanced, extending bladed appendages designed for silent killing. Kororin knows, Nayland hissed, ducking another attack. These droids are reserved for political eliminations. Kai moved with practiced efficiency, evading the droid's attacks while searching for vulnerabilities. Can you distract it? I need 3 seconds to access its control node. Nayland nodded, then launched herself at the droid with a Vorak battle cry. She deflected its blades with her forearm guards, earning a deep gash across her knee but successfully drawing its attention. Kai circled behind, then struck with precision, driving his hand into a maintenance port at the droid's base. His fingers found and crushed the control circuitry. The droid collapsed in a heap of metal and circuitry. Naylin leaned against the wall, breathing heavily, blood seeping from her wounded knee. "You're injured," Kai said, moving to examine the wound. "It's nothing," she insisted, though her face betrayed her pain. "We must continue." Kai tore a strip from his underarmor and bandaged her knee. "This changes our timeline. Kororin wouldn't send an assassination droid unless he suspected our true purpose." "Then we have even more reason to reach the repository," Naylin said, testing her weight on the injured leg. "If he's willing to eliminate a former champion, something in that data must be worth killing for." They continued with greater urgency, encountering and disabling 2 more security measures before reaching the repository entrance. The massive door featured an intricate locking mechanism keyed to Kororin's unique biosignature. Kai applied his device to the scanner. "This will replicate Kororin's vital signs, but only for 30 seconds. The device hummed, projecting a complex pattern of light and sound. The door's locking mechanism hesitated, then disengaged with a heavy thunk. Inside, the repository sprawled before them, a vast chamber filled with data crystals, arranged in concentric circles around a central console. Each crystal contained millennia of arena records, political agreements, and secret alliances. "We need the most recent diplomatic section," Kai said, approaching the console. His fingers danced across the interface, navigating through layers of encryption. Naylin stood guard at the entrance, listening for approaching threats. "Whatever you're looking for, hurry. We won't remain undetected for long." Kai accessed a section labeled Interstellar Accords and began downloading data to a concealed device in his armor. As information flowed, his expression hardened. "What is it?" Naylin asked, noting his reaction. "Confirmation of what Earth suspected. 7 species, including the Vorak High Command, have formed a coalition to restrict human expansion. They're planning a coordinated strike against Earth's outer colonies." Naylin's amber eyes widened. "The High Command wouldn't—" She stopped as Kai displayed a holographic signature. "That's Supreme Commander Valorian's seal. Your people's leadership signed this accord 3 cycles ago," Kai said gently. "Along with the Chronari, Xenovics, and others, Kororin has been facilitating these meetings under the guise of arena business." Naylin stared at the evidence, her world shifting beneath her. "Why would they do this?" "Fear, most likely. Humans advanced too quickly, disrupted the established order." Kai continued downloading. "These records also show resource allocation, military positions." A sudden alarm blared throughout the facility. Red emergency lights bathed the repository in crimson. "We've been discovered," Naylin said, drawing herself up despite her injury. "How much longer?" 30 more seconds, Kai replied, his eyes on the progress indicator. The sound of heavy footsteps echoed from the corridor. Naylin positioned herself in the doorway, ready to defend against whatever came. "I'll hold them off." Kai glanced up from the console. "Naylin, you don't have to." "I choose to," she interrupted firmly. "Complete your mission." The first security droid rounded the corner, followed by 2 more. Naylin launched herself at them with all the skill of a Vorak champion, her movements fluid despite her wounded knee. She disabled the first droid by targeting its optical sensors, then used its falling body as a shield against the others. Behind her, Kai completed the download just as Vex Kororin himself appeared in the corridor, flanked by elite guards. "The traitorous champion and her human master," Kororin hissed, his slender frame vibrating with rage. "Did you really think you could access my private repository without consequences?" Naylin faced him defiantly. "We've seen the Accords, Kororin, the alliance against Earth, the planned attacks." Kororin's thin lips curved into a sneer. "Politics beyond your understanding, champion. The human species must be contained before they upset millennia of careful balance." "Or before they challenge your authority," Kai said, joining Naylin in the doorway. "Earth offered peaceful trade. Your coalition responded with plans for preemptive strikes." "Precautionary measures," Kororin replied coldly. which you have now justified by your espionage. Seize them." The guards advanced, but Kai and Nayland moved as one. Their combined fighting style, human precision with Vorak power, caught the guards unprepared. They disabled three before Kororin himself attacked, revealing surprising combat prowess for an administrative figure. "You forget," Kororin snarled, as he parried Nayland's strike with an energy blade. "I was arena master when your grandfather was still learning to hold a sword." His attack drove Nayland backward, reopening her knee wound. Kai intervened, using his pressure point technique to momentarily paralyze Kororin's weapon arm. The arena master howled in rage and pain. "Kill them both!" More guards poured into the corridor as Kai pulled Nayland toward a maintenance shaft he had identified in his earlier system's access. "This way." They squeezed into the narrow passage, just as energy blasts scorched the wall behind them. The shaft descended steeply, leading to lower levels of the arena complex. "Where does this lead?" Nayland gasped, the pain in her knee intensifying. "Docking bay," Kai replied, supporting her weight as they navigated the cramped space. "If we can reach it, Earth has an extraction team waiting." Nayland stumbled, nearly falling. "You had this planned from the beginning." "A contingency," Kai corrected. "I hope to complete the mission without raising alarms." "And me?" Nayland asked, her amber eyes searching his face in the dim light. "Was I just another contingency? A useful tool for your mission?" Kai stopped, turning to face her fully. "You were an unexpected variable, Nayland, one that changed everything." Before she could respond, they reached the end of the shaft. Beyond lay the cavernous docking bay, where competitors' ships were maintained. Security was already scrambling, but the chaos worked in their favor. "There," Kai pointed to a nondescript maintenance vessel. Earth technology disguised as a standard supply ship. They moved swiftly across the bay, avoiding patrols. Just as they reached the ship, a plasma blast struck the ground near Nayland's feet. They turned to see Kororin himself, his arm recovered, wielding an advanced energy weapon. "You will not leave this arena alive," he snarled, taking aim again. Kai pushed Nayland toward the ship's entry ramp. "Get inside!" "Not without you," she insisted, pulling him with her. Kororin fired again, the blast grazing Kai's shoulder. The pain was intense but manageable. He reached into his armor and threw his last defensive device, a neural disruptor that temporarily overwhelmed sensory input. Kororin screamed as his nervous system misfired, dropping him to his knees. The distraction gave Kai and Nayland the seconds they needed to board the ship and seal the hatch. Inside, Kai activated the launch sequence while Nayland secured the entry points. The ship's engines hummed to life, powerful despite its unassuming exterior. "Hold on," Kai warned as he overrode the bay doors. "This will be a combat launch." The ship shot forward, tearing through the partially open bay doors and into the void beyond. Defense turrets on the arena's exterior swiveled to track them, but Kai engaged the ship's stealth systems, rendering them virtually invisible to conventional sensors. As the Nexus arena shrank behind them, Nayland collapsed into a seat, the adrenaline of their escape fading to reveal exhaustion and pain. Kai set the autopilot, then moved to treat her wounded knee. "This needs proper medical attention." "Where are we going?" she asked, as he applied a regenerative compound from the ship's medical kit. "Earth Alliance outpost in the Proxima system," Kai replied. "We'll be safe there while we analyze the data." Nayland was silent for a moment. "And what happens to me at this outpost? Am I a prisoner? A refugee? Or still your bound servant under the god's law?" Kai finished bandaging her knee, then looked up to meet her gaze. "That depends on what you want, Nayland. Earth would welcome your knowledge as an ally, not a servant." "And what if I wish to return to my people, to warn them about Kororin's manipulations?" "That would be your choice," Kai said, though something in his expression tightened. "Though it would be dangerous, Kororin will have already labeled you a traitor." Nayland studied him carefully. "You would let me go, just like that?" The binding was never real to me, Kai admitted. It was a means to an end, access to information that could save lives. But I won't hold you to an oath made under duress. She reached up to touch the ceremonial collar still around her neck. With a decisive movement, she unclasped it and let it fall to the floor between them. Then I am no longer bound by the god's law, she said softly. My choices are my own. Kai nodded, a mixture of emotions crossing his face. As they should be. They remained in orbit around a small moon in a neutral system for several hours, while Kai transmitted the encrypted data to Earth Alliance headquarters. During this time, Naylin explored the ship, familiarizing herself with human technology and considering her options. When Kai finally emerged from the communications bay, his expression was grim but determined. Earth has received the data, he reported. They're mobilizing diplomatic channels to confront the coalition with evidence of their planned aggression. With luck, it may prevent war. And without luck? Naylin asked. Then, at least we'll be prepared. Kai sat beside her in the ship's small galley. I've also arranged something for you. The Alliance is offering political asylum and protected status. You wouldn't be bound to anyone's service. Naylin considered this. A gesture of goodwill to a potential informant. A recognition of your value, Kai corrected. Your knowledge of Vorak military tactics alone would be invaluable. So I trade one form of service for another, she observed without rancor. Kai shook his head. You'd be free to decline. The offer stands either way. Naylin was silent for a long moment, her amber eyes distant. When I was 8 cycles old, I began training for the arena. My entire life has been defined by combat, by the pursuit of victory and honor. I never questioned the purpose behind the fights, the political machinations. And now I see that my people's leadership may have betrayed the very principles they claim to uphold. She turned to face him fully. I cannot return to a life built on deception, but neither can I simply abandon my heritage. Perhaps there's a third option, Kai suggested. Help Earth understand the Vorak. Help the Vorak understand humans. Be a bridge between worlds. The ship's communication system chimed, interrupting their conversation. A secure channel had been established with Director Hawthorne. Kai accepted the transmission, and a holographic image of Sarah Hawthorne appeared, a stern-faced woman with calculating eyes. Agent Kai, she acknowledged. I see your mission was successful, if somewhat explosive in execution. Circumstances required adaptation, Kai replied formally. Hawthorne's gaze shifted to Naylin. And this must be the Vorak champion. I understand she assisted in your escape. She was instrumental to the entire mission. Director. Without her knowledge of the arena systems, we would have failed. Hawthorne nodded thoughtfully. Then Earth owes her a debt. Has she been informed of our offer? Yes, Kai confirmed, though she's still considering her options. I accept, Naylin said suddenly, surprising both Kai and Hawthorne. On one condition. Hawthorne's eyebrow rose. Which is? I work directly with Kai, as partners, not as servant and master. The director studied her for a moment before a small smile crossed her face. That seems reasonable, given your successful collaboration thus far, Agent Kai? Kai didn't hesitate. I agree to the terms. Then it's settled, Hawthorne concluded. Report to Proxima Base for debriefing and medical attention. We'll formalize arrangements there. The transmission ended, leaving Kai and Naylin alone again. Partners, Kai repeated, a question in his voice. Is that acceptable? Naylin asked, suddenly uncertain. More than acceptable, he assured her. But may I ask what changed your mind? You seemed undecided just moments ago. Naylin's amber eyes held his. In the arena, I fought for personal glory. As your bound servant, I fought because I had no choice. But today, fighting beside you against Kororin, I found something different, a purpose beyond myself, beyond traditional honor. And that purpose is? Justice, she said simply. For my people who don't know they're being manipulated into war. For humans who face aggression without provocation. For all those caught in political games. Kai nodded slowly. A worthy cause. And one better served together, Nayland added, her hand finding his. You taught me there's honor in mercy, in fighting without killing. Perhaps I can teach you something of Vorak determination in return. They reached Proxima Base 3 days later. The Earth Alliance outpost orbited a terraformed moon, its sleek architecture reflecting human design philosophy. Functional, yet aesthetic, with curved lines and abundant natural light. Medical staff immediately attended to Nayland's knee injury, using advanced regenerative technology that left her amazed at human medical science. Meanwhile, Kai submitted to debriefing, detailing every aspect of their mission and the data they had recovered. When they reunited in the base's diplomatic wing, both had been given fresh clothing, practical Earth Alliance uniforms that recognized their special status. How does it feel? Kai asked, as Nayland experimentally tested her healed knee. Strange, she admitted. Your medical technology is impressive. One of many technologies we could share under peaceful relations, he noted. A young officer approached them. Agent Kai, former champion Nayland, Director Hawthorne requests your presence in the Strategic Command Center. They followed the officer through pristine corridors to a circular chamber dominated by holographic displays. Hawthorne stood at the center, surrounded by military and diplomatic advisors, studying the data Kai had retrieved. Our guests of honor, Hawthorne greeted them. Your information has already proven invaluable. We've identified 3 planned strike points and reinforced those colonies accordingly. Has there been any diplomatic response? Kai asked. The coalition denies everything. Of course. Hawthorne replied with a grimace. But the evidence is irrefutable. Several member species are already withdrawing from the Accord, claiming they were misled about its true purpose. And the Vorak? Nayland asked tensely. Hawthorne's expression softened slightly. Your High Command maintains their position, but there are factions calling for investigation into Kororan's influence. Your status as former champion gives your testimony significant weight. I have no official standing anymore, Nayland reminded her. Perhaps not in the arena, Hawthorne conceded. But your escape, and the reasons behind it, have become something of an interstellar sensation. Many see you as taking a principled stand against corruption. Nayland seemed startled by this information. I didn't realize. Information travels quickly, even across systems, Kai explained. Your actions in helping expose the Coalition's plans have made you a symbol. A symbol I intend to utilize, Hawthorne added pragmatically. Which brings me to my proposal. We're establishing a new joint training initiative for human soldiers and diplomatic personnel. Those who will serve on the front lines of our interspecies relations need to understand non-human combat techniques and cultural values. You want us to train your people, Nayland surmised. Initially, yes, Hawthorne confirmed. But eventually, I hope to expand the program to include Vorak trainees as well. Those who wish to build bridges, rather than barriers between our species. Kai and Nayland exchanged glances. It was an elegant solution, acknowledging Nayland's expertise while giving her purpose, and utilizing Kai's unique understanding of both worlds. I accept, Nayland said firmly. Though I warn you, Vorak training methods are demanding. Our recruits will rise to the challenge, Hawthorne assured her with a rare smile. Agent Kai, I assume you're on board as well? Yes, Director, he replied. Though I request assignment as Nayland's official liaison and partner, as per our agreement. Already processed, Hawthorne confirmed. You'll both report to Training Commander Wallace tomorrow at 800. For now, get some rest. You've earned it. As they left the Strategic Command Center, Nayland spoke quietly. Your director is formidable, almost Vorak-like in her directness. Kai chuckled. High praise indeed, though she'd probably take it as a compliment. They walked in comfortable silence through the base until they reached the residential section, where quarters had been prepared for them. Adjacent rooms, Kai noted as they stopped between two doors. With a connecting office for our training preparations. Nayland nodded, but hesitated before entering her assigned quarters. Kai, there's something I've been meaning to ask. Yes? In the arena, when you could have killed me but didn't, was that truly strategic, or was there another reason? Kai considered his answer carefully. Initially, it was strategic. A dead champion provides no intelligence. But, she prompted when he paused. But even then, there was something about you that made me believe you were more valuable as an ally than as a defeated enemy. His eyes met hers. I don't regret that decision. Nor do I, Nayland admitted softly. Though at the time, I might have said otherwise. The next morning, they reported to the training facility as instructed. It was a vast complex with sections designed to simulate various environments and combat scenarios. Commander Wallace, a weathered veteran with keen eyes, greeted them with military efficiency. Our first class arrives in 1 hour, he informed them. 20 recruits selected for their potential in interspecies operations. They've been briefed on the basics of Vorak culture, but nothing substantial about combat techniques. A blank slate, Nayland observed. Good. The recruits filed in precisely on schedule. Young men and women in Earth Alliance uniforms, standing at attention with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension as they faced their unusual instructors. Nayland stepped forward, her posture embodying the pride and discipline of a Vorak champion, yet tempered with a new openness. I am Nayland, former queen of the Vorak warriors, she announced in clear, accented English. You will address me as Instructor Nayland. This is Agent Kai, my partner and your liaison to human combat integration. The recruits straightened further at her authoritative tone. You stand at the beginning of a new path, she continued. One that combines the strength and honor of Vorak tradition with the adaptability and precision of human technique. It will not be easy. Some of you will fail, but those who succeed will become something unprecedented, warriors who understand both worlds. Kai joined her, addressing the recruits. What you learn here goes beyond combat. You're learning to bridge cultures, to see beyond your own perspective. The future of human-Vorak relations may depend on your ability to understand and respect both traditions. As they began the first lesson, Nayland demonstrated a basic Vorak stance, while Kai explained its principles and applications. The recruits watched in fascination as the former enemies moved in perfect synchronization, their styles complementing each other in ways neither culture had previously explored. From a viewing platform above the training floor, Director Hawthorne observed the session with satisfaction. Remarkable, she murmured to Commander Wallace. From Mortal Kombat to teaching partners in less than a month. Do you think it will work? Wallace asked pragmatically. This cultural integration? It has to, Hawthorne replied, watching as Nayland corrected a recruit's form with firm but patient guidance. The alternative is a war neither species can afford. Months passed as the training program expanded. Nayland and Kai developed a comprehensive curriculum that blended Vorak honor codes with human tactical flexibility. Their first class of recruits graduated to become instructors themselves, spreading the integrated combat philosophy throughout Earth Alliance forces. More significantly, the diplomatic impact of their work began to show results. Impressed by reports of the program, moderate factions within the Vorak High Command initiated formal talks with Earth representatives. Kororan's influence waned as evidence of his manipulations became impossible to ignore. On the 1-year anniversary of their escape from Nexus Arena, Nayland and Kai stood on an observation deck at Proxima Base, watching the arrival of the first official Vorak delegation, warriors and diplomats coming to observe the training program firsthand. Your people look magnificent, Kai observed, as the sleek Vorak vessel docked. Even more impressive as potential allies than as opponents. Naelin's amber eyes shone with pride and hope. A year ago, I would have considered this impossible. A Vorak queen working alongside a human? Teaching our sacred combat techniques to outsiders? You're still a queen in many ways, Kai noted, watching how the arriving Vorak warriors immediately recognized and respectfully acknowledged her presence, even from a distance. Perhaps, she conceded, but not of the arena, of something more meaningful. As they prepared to greet the delegation, Naelin glanced back toward the stars, where Nexus Arena orbited. Now distant, but still a reminder of where their journey began. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked suddenly. "The binding ceremony? Making me your servant under the god's law?" Kai followed her gaze to the stars. "I regret the deception, that I couldn't tell you my true purpose from the beginning. But I could never regret what came from it." Naelin nodded, understanding. In Vorak tradition, there is a saying, "From the ashes of defeat, the phoenix of true honor rises." I never understood it until now. "And what do you understand it to mean?" Kai asked, genuinely curious. "That sometimes losing one battle opens the path to winning a greater one." She turned from the stars to face him fully. "We lost the arena, but we may have won peace for both our peoples." The delegation approached, led by a distinguished Vorak elder, whose ceremonial armor bore the insignia of the High Command. Naelin straightened, preparing to perform formal introductions. But the elder spoke first. "Former Queen Naelin," he said in the Vorak language, "your actions have stirred great debate among our people. Some call you traitor, others visionary." He studied her for a moment. "The High Command wishes to hear your account directly." "I will speak truth, Elder Kavorn," Naelin replied respectfully. "As I always have." "And you," the elder addressed Kai in accented common speech. "The human who defeated our champion only to make her stronger. We have many questions for you as well." "I look forward to answering them," Kai replied with a respectful inclination of his head. As they escorted the delegation into the base, Naelin and Kai exchanged a look of shared purpose. The path ahead remained uncertain, fraught with political challenges and cultural barriers. But they would face it, as they had faced the arena, together, combining the best of both their worlds. In the distance, the silhouette of Nexus Arena hung like a shadow against the stars, a reminder of where they began, enemy champions bound by ancient law, and how far they had come, partners forging a future neither could have imagined alone. The god's law had decreed that she must become the human's personal slave after defeat. Instead, they had created something far more powerful, an alliance of equals that might just save both their worlds.